Well, Monday is the first day of school here and in our county, and today at the end of Mass, I'll offer a blessing for all teachers, students, and their backpacks. You know, in the first week of school, teachers present the ground rules to their students. They lay out their expectations about things like behavior, homework, and how to succeed in the classroom. And this is so important because having clear expectations at the start can head off a lot of problems down the road. But this is true not just in classrooms. Having expectations is necessary within the workplace, within families and relationships, and even within churches. Well, this is week 3 of our summer message series titled Upside Down. We chose this title because in the gospel readings for these final Sundays of summer, Jesus gives us a new view of life and faith, literally turns our thinking upside down. He calls us to see things through God's eyes so that we can grow as disciples. Well, today, we heard Jesus lay out one of his expectations for those who are members of his kingdom. Let's see what it was. So we heard that Jesus went to dine at the home of a Pharisee. Now the Gospels tell us that Jesus was always at odds with the Pharisees. And that's because they had gotten sidetracked when it came to faith. And when Jesus noticed how the guests at this dinner were jockeying for the best seats at the table, he told them a parable. He said, if you're invited to a banquet, don't take the seat of honor because the host might ask you to move to a lower place and you'll be embarrassed. Instead, Jesus says, take the lower seat and then wait for the host to invite you up higher. Now, this was not Jesus giving an etiquette lesson on wedding banquets. It wasn't a class on manners. Jesus was making an important point about life and faith. This was a teaching on humility. The main point of his lesson is this: everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted. And then Jesus got very specific about what humility looks like in practice. He said that the truly humble person cares for the poor and the physically challenged. He helps those who are unable to repay the favor of being helped. As I said, this gospel is a call to humility. Here's one of my favorite quotes on humility. Being humble is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. This quote is a little tricky, so let me expound a bit. Being humble is not thinking less of yourself like I'm a terrible person. No, humility is simply thinking of yourself less and others more. The humble person sees those who are hurting and needy and feels moved to help in whatever ways he or she can. At the start of Mass, I mentioned this weekend we're celebrating the feast day of St. Pius X, our parish patron. Before becoming Pope, he served as a parish priest. And when a deadly cholera outbreak hit his town, he went above and beyond caring for the sick and the dying. Fear about the disease and its treatment kept many from seeking medical aid. Pius X, known at the time as Don Giuseppe, served as doctor and nurse. He administered medicine to some that would only take it if he gave it. When public funerals were banned, he conducted graveside services alone, often in the middle of the night, making sure his parishioners received a Christian burial. Even when his own health began to suffer, he kept going, pushing himself and ignoring the advice of his superiors. Being humble is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. He was obeying Jesus' command in today's gospel. As we celebrate our feast day, I want to acknowledge all the ways that we as a parish do as Jesus teaches. Our parish serves the poor and needy through our sharing pantry, through our holiday outreach programs, Families Helping Families, the Giving Tree, Warm Nights. We also have a parish ministry called Hope, which helps people needing rent assistance or struggling to pay a utility bill. Then there are our mission trips to Honduras and with Habitat for Humanity. The next Habitat trip is to Georgetown, Delaware in September, and spaces are still available. Our recent school supply drive is another way we help those in need. All of this springs from Jesus' call to humility, thinking less about ourselves and thinking of others more. True service should challenge us. It should inconvenience us and require some sacrifice. True service should hurt a little, leaving us feeling achy, sore, and uncomfortable. It should move us out of our comfort zone, stretching our hearts, not just our wallets. And it's not just strangers that we're called to serve. We can offer humble service to anyone, anywhere, within our homes, our schools, our workplaces, and our neighborhoods. Here's my challenge to you for this week. Serve someone who serves you. Serve someone who serves you. What do I mean by that? Well, in the course of any day, you and I are served by so many people. Clerks in stores, servers in restaurants, aides in schools and offices, cleaning staffs, delivery drivers, postal employees. It's easy to overlook these individuals, to take them for granted, or even fail to honor what they do. To practice the humility Jesus is calling us to do, I'm asking you to make a point this week to serve someone who serves you. A smile, a thank you, a compliment, or even a small gift can go a long way. A few months ago, I went to visit an elderly couple who are homebound. The wife greeted me at the door holding a few bottles of water. She said, "Excuse me for just a minute, Father." And then she walked to the edge of her curb and handed them to the men who were collecting her garbage. When we got into the house, I said, "That was a nice gesture." She said, "We've been doing that for years, and I know they appreciate it." Her humility humbled me. That's an example of serving someone who serves you. And it's something we can all do. At home, think of ways you can help out without having to be asked. Cleaning the table, doing the dishes, folding the laundry, saying thank you, and smiling more. At your workplace, be a force for good. Avoid gossip and office politics. Compliment others. Pitch in without having to be asked. At your child's school, don't just communicate complaints. Offer compliments. Send a note or a treat, something that says, "I appreciate you." At church, get involved if you're not already. Participate in the service opportunities I mentioned. When we humble ourselves and serve in these ways, we show that we are thinking less about ourselves and others more. We become more like Christ, and we help to build his kingdom. Amen.